Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified when new videos are released. This is a Snowball Stars block. It finishes at 12 inches. This is a great quilt to use your scraps. Here is the diagram. We have half square triangles, squares, rectangles, and a snowball unit. We're going to use the stitch and flip method or the folded corner clipper or any other tool you have to do the folded corners, and we'll get to that later. Here is what the blocks look like when you put them together and you see all the stars start forming between the blocks. I've separated out these instructions from the light fabrics up here and then the dark fabrics down here. For the light fabrics, we have the A patch, which is 2-inch finished square. We cut 2.5-inch squares. And we'll need 2 patches of each of the light colors. And these are the square in the corner here, and then the square that we're going to use to stitch and flip this snowball unit here. Patch B is a 2-inch by 4-inch finished rectangle, and we'll need 2 patches from each of the light color fabrics. These are the rectangles here that we're going to stitch and flip, and the rectangle here that we're going to stitch and flip. We're going to put this block together in one unit and repeat that one unit 4 times. I'm just going to show you doing one unit because they're all the same. Now for the dark fabrics, we have patch C, which is also a 2-inch finished square, and we'll need 2 patches from each of the dark fabrics. We cut 2.5-inch squares. And patch D is a 4-inch finished square. We cut 4.5-inch squares. We need 1 for each of the dark fabrics. For this to work, you need a really good contrast between your lights and your darks. If you have some low volume prints, they'd be perfect in here. And just make sure your dark fabrics are very dark. That way you get that nice contrast in there. Okay, let's look at the light patches first. Here are the AccuQuilt dies you can use to make the 2-inch finished square, and here are the dies for the 2 by 4-inch rectangle. If you wanted to cut your patches, these 2 patches, from a strip of 2.5-inch fabric, you can cut one strip at 2.5 inches by about 15 inches. Then you'll cut 2 each of the squares and 2 each of the rectangles. So you have a choice of cutting patches or cutting from the strip, and cut your patches from strips. Now for the dark fabric, we're going to cut, here are the 2-inch finished square is going to be used to stitch and flip here. The rectangle units. So you'll have two squares of each of those for each of the dark fabrics, and then 1 large square for this snowball unit here. Here are my 4 different units. Remember, I said we're going to piece these into 4 units. They're 4 identical units except for the fabric. Now here are my 4. So I'm going to demo this one actually. These are the 2 light colored squares and the 2 dark squares, and then the 2 light rectangles and the large dark square. Now this is where you can either use the stitch and flip method or use the folded corner clipper. This is what I use. There are other products out there that do the same thing, and I'm going to have a demo coming up of using this ruler and also using the stitch and flip method. So here's how we're going to piece. The first one, we're going to take 1 patch A, which is a light square, and then patch D, which is the large dark square. And we're going to stitch this partial snowball unit. Then we're going to take the 2 of the B patches, which are the rectangles, and 2 of the C patches, which are dark squares. And we're going to make 2 chisel units like this. One goes in this direction and one goes in that direction. Now next I'm going to show you how to do the stitch and flip method or the folded corner method using the folded corner clipper tool. On the back of the accent fabrics, you're going to draw a diagonal line. Place this right sides together on the background. But if you can see, I've got my stitching just to the right side of that line. And this area here, the outside corner, we're going to cut off. You can use scissors or you can use your rotary cutter, and you're going to cut off this little right corner. And then you're going to flip it up like this and press it just like this. Because you stitched just to the right side of that line, you have a nice even edge on these two sides, and that's what you want. The first unit is the chisel unit. You put the right sides together, and normally you would draw your diagonal line and stitch on the diagonal line. But we're going to take this ruler and line up this edge along the edge of the top piece. Then this flat edge lines up with this edge of the pieces, and you'll see that at the 2.5 mark you have a solid line that goes like this, and then it goes up. And so you line up all those 3 places. Then you cut. Now people who like to save triangles, you can have this other triangle, just go ahead and stitch there and you'll have a little triangle. So when we take this away, you see that these tell you where your 1/4 inch is. So you'll start stitching right here at this point. And you'll stitch a 1/4 inch down, and you'll end down here at this other point. Here it is stitched in red, and here it is pressed. So this is the chisel unit, and you can also place the angle going in the other direction, in this direction. Our next unit is the snowball, and we place our square in the corner, and we line up our 3 points on the ruler, the top, the side, and then this side here, and cut. Now that you know how to do the stitch and flip or use the folded corner clipper or whatever method you want to use, here is what we're going to do next. We'll take the dark A patches and put them right sides together on the rectangle, the light rectangle. Do both of these. And you'll want to be sure you make one angle go this way and one angle go this way. They have to be opposite ways. If you're not sure, just take your pencil and just mark a little line on it. It won't hurt it. And it'll be on the back, so you can just have a little guideline that shows you which way you want to go. And then you'll take one of the light squares and put it on your dark large square, and you'll also want to draw a line this way to show you which angle to cut when you're doing your cutting and your piecing. When you do that, then you'll have this. So here is our large snowball unit, and this is the piece we've cut off. Then we'll just stitch this down. And here are the 2 rectangles, and we've cut these pieces off, and then we'll just stitch these. I'm going to do that for all of them, and then we'll put the units together. I have all of my pieces done. All of the stitch and flip folded corner clipper have been done, and we have the triangles in the corners. Now what we're going to do is take these and piece them together like this. So we'll piece these 2 together, then these 2 together, and press, and then stitch these 2 together. And that is 1/4 of our block. We'll do the same thing to all the other 3. Now you could make it totally scrappy and take these out and put these in. And that would be a totally scrappy quilt. The backgrounds would be scrappy and the dark fabrics would be scrappy. I think that would look pretty neat too. But for this case, we're going to use all the same. Now I'll go and piece all 4 of these, and then we'll come back. All of our units are finished. Now we'll just put them together, and however you like, however they look, you can switch them around, and maybe you like the look of one or the other better, but I think it really doesn't make any difference. And then we'll just piece these together and the block will be finished. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified when new videos are released.